I remember that first day perfectly. I woke up with knots in my stomach, wearing a new suit bought with my last savings. In the mirrored lift, I barely recognized my own reflection. Anxious eyes, rigid posture, a briefcase that seemed to carry the weight of all my expectations. Upon entering the company, the world seemed to accelerate. Keyboards clicking, phones ringing, people talking urgently. I felt small, out of place, as if I'd entered a universe that spun faster than I could keep up. It was then that a voice broke through my anxiety. "All right, newbie. Luke is right. I'm Andre." He was charismatic, smiling, seemed to know everyone. Within minutes, he made me feel calmer. Little did I know that some wide smiles hide empty intentions. In the following weeks, I was absorbed into Andre's group. We had lunch together, complained about work, laughed at the same jokes. At first, I felt the relief of belonging. But gradually I realized we weren't laughing with people, we were laughing at them. We weren't sharing frustrations to find solutions, but to feed a cycle of negativity. When I mentioned doing an evening course, Andre laughed. "Mate, relax. You've only just started and you already want to be manager." The group agreed, laughing. I laughed too, but inside something hurt. That collective laughter chipped away at my motivation. Months passed and my transformation was profound. The idea-filled Lucas gave way to a cynical, resigned version. I adopted the group's habits, arriving just on time, doing the minimum, complaining about the system. One afternoon, I stayed late to finish a report. The empty office had a different piece. Andre appeared at the door. "Why are you killing yourself? You think they'll give you a raise?" I smiled, but the phrase echoed. That night I understood. They were pulling me down, and I was allowing it. Worse, I was starting to believe the bottom was where I belonged. One day the boss announced a challenging project. Immediately, something ignited inside me. For the first time in months, I felt excitement instead of dread. When I shared it with the group, the reactions were frosty. "You'll mess up," said Andre. "It's just a headache." I almost gave up. But that night, I remembered my father. "Be careful who you walk beside. Empty people suck the best out of you." The next morning, I signed up without telling anyone. The new team was another universe. Collaborative people, focused, with a spark in their eyes. Mistakes were learnings, achievements were celebrated. Slowly, I rediscovered myself. Meanwhile, the old group drifted away. Andre mocked me in the corridors. "All right, new manager?" But now I saw the truth. My wings bothered them because they preferred to crawl. I learned that those who criticize you when you grow are afraid of being left behind. Their mockery reflects their own inadequacies. With distance and perspective, I identified the signs of toxic friendships. Seed of doubt, they always question your abilities. Disguised competition, they turn your achievements into competition. Persistent fatigue, you feel drained after seeing them. Chains of the past, they constantly remind you of old mistakes. Selective distance, they drift away when you start to evolve. I understood. They don't want to see you fail, they just can't stand to see you improve. Breaking away wasn't dramatic. It was a silent process, saying no more often, redirecting negative conversations, valuing my peace. The first lunches alone were strange, but I discovered that the peace of a quiet meal is worth more than the chaos of empty conversations. Then, new connections emerged. Raphael, a colleague from another department, sat at my table. We talked about books, technology, the future. I left lunch feeling inspired, something that hadn't happened in months. The project was a success. My ideas were valued, my effort recognized. When I was promoted, I felt pride, but also sadness for the time lost listening to the wrong voices. Raphael became the friend I didn't even know I needed. "Try," he'd say. "If it goes wrong, it's a learning experience." His simplicity was revolutionary. I realized the obvious. The energy around us shapes our future. Good friends remind us who we are when we forget. One afternoon, looking at the city from the office window, I understood my transformation. It wasn't about position or salary, but awareness. Wrong people delay us more than any obstacle. Right people accelerate us more than any shortcut. I wrote in my notebook, "Not everyone walking beside you wants to see you arrive." I began to attract a new type of friendship, authentic, nourishing. I learned to recognize shared joy. They rejoice in your victories, active listening. They truly listen and process what you say, Mutual inspiration. They lift you up by example. Loving accountability. They suggest improvements without causing hurt. Celebration of evolution. They delight in your growth. I discovered the virtuous cycle. To attract good people, I need to be a good person. Months later, I bumped into Andre at an event.
Alright, famous.
He said with his usual smile. Just doing what I enjoy, I replied. You've changed, eh? He observed. You're zen. Perhaps I just learned where to place my energy. He fell silent, disconcerted. He left, taking that heavy energy I no longer miss. On the tube, looking at tired faces, I wondered how many were trapped in circles, preventing them from flying. I wished everyone could discover. Changing the voices around you can completely alter your trajectory. The lost time was a painful but necessary investment. The darkness taught me to value the light. Beware of those who mock your dreams. They may be trying to shrink them to fit their small worlds. Be wary of those who point out problems but never solutions, who criticize your flights but never lend you wings. People who pull you down will always be more comfortable when you're on the ground. Your light bothers their shadows. Choose to rise, even if initially alone, even if frightening. A true friend doesn't keep you where you are, but reminds you how far you can go. And with that sort of person, life doesn't just lift you up, it transforms you into someone who also knows how to lift others. In the end, it's not about arriving, but who we become on the journey, how many people we inspire to fly with us. Thank you for reading this far. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to the channel.